When your world feels heavy and your circumstances shout louder than peace, it can be easy to believe that life is happening to you. But the truth is far softer and far more powerful. The outer world is not the cause, it is merely the echo. All that what appears around you is shaped first in the quiet chambers of your inner world. Not by force, not by effort, but by what you accept as true. If our mind rehearses fear, fear becomes familiar. If your heart rehearses lack, lack becomes the lens you see through. What you believe to be true shapes every aspect of your outer world. This isn't a result of something you are doing wrong, but simply universal law. It is the nature of consciousness and just is. But just as the soil does not judge the seed, it simply grows what is planted. So to the spiritual journey is not about controlling the outer world, but rather tending to the inner one. The beliefs held inside you in the garden of your inner world is where all life begins. There is a shift that happens when you finally hand over your outer world problems and worries to God. A shift from fear to trust, from effort to alignment, from grasping to knowing. This shift is not loud nor dramatic, but simply a quiet settling. Letting go and handing over to God is not inactivity, irresponsible, or unaccountable. It is inner activity. It is an acknowledgement, a movement of trust so deep that the soul's true knowing affirms it no longer needs to hold on so tight as it is already held. And when we finally accept that our outer world is created by our very own internal beliefs, a subtle inner shift happens. The outer world cannot help but respond to our new faith, as life always rises to meet the tone of your inner state. It is universal law and inescapable. There are no exceptions. When you are presented with problems, concerns, or a life you do not desire in the outer world of life, the divine does not ask you to fix the circumstances first. God guides you gently back to the place where all creation begins, the sanctuary of the imagination. Perhaps you have been taught that imagination is childlike, frivolous, a place of fantasy that bears no relevance to the reality you are currently living. This is simply untrue. Imagination is something far holier. It is the secret place of the highest, the womb of creation, and the inner sanctuary where your soul meets God. It is not where you pretend. It is where you remember, where you reconnect with what is already true in the spirit kingdom before it takes form in the 3D world you are currently experiencing. Every true desire that rises in your heart is not an accident. It is guidance, a whisper from the divine saying, "This is already yours in the unseen. Hold it within you, feel it, agree with it." The moment a desire appears, creation has already begun. Your role is not to force it into existence. Your role is to align with the feeling of its truth and believe it in your heart. This is how you welcome in God's divine power. This is how you allow the process to begin with ease. What you impress upon your inner world with sincerity, with feeling, with quiet knowing becomes the pattern your outer world follows. With this knowledge, imagine yourself whole, supported, provided for, in peace, in clarity, and in divine alignment. Feel the relief as though it were already done. Feel the gratitude rising, not because you are pretending, but because it is already done, and God has willed it to enter your reality at the exact moment it is destined to. Allow yourself to rest in that highest vision for yourself. Some may tell you this is escaping reality. It is not realistic, as they too have forgotten this powerful universal law. But your imagination is not a toy. It is a meeting place, the sacred ground where your consciousness meets the divine intention for your life. And when you accept this to be true, you welcome in all the greatness that God has intended for you. Only then can you align with the truth that lives beyond appearances. And the more you sit in that inner stillness of knowing that God has taken care of it, the more the external world begins to rearrange itself to mirror what you have accepted within. This is why your inner state matters more than any outer circumstance, because the seed comes before the harvest, the root comes before the blossom, and the inner reality will always come before its outer reflection. When you find yourself deep in worry, be the reminder that guides your mind, not with force, but rather with awareness. Ask yourself, is this a seed I want to plant? Is this a feeling I want to grow? Remembering that not everything that passes through the mind deserves to be watered. There is always choice. You can choose the inner picture, choose the inner feeling, choose the inner truth that aligns with the divine rather than with fear. And when you do, a quiet strength begins to form. A spiritual authority that does not come from control, but from surrender. A surrender that declares, I align myself with what the divine knows, not with what my fear imagines. I trust in the knowing of the highest. For it is in that alignment that life ceases to feel like a battle and becomes a partnership of co-creation, the very dance between your willingness and God's infinite ability. So allow your inner state to be your focus. Tend to your thoughts with gentleness, guarding your imagination with reverence. Let the vision of what is true in the eyes of God to become the truth you carry in your chest. Because what you accept within, you will meet again in your outer world. And when you rest in the inner knowing that God is already moving, already arranging, already holding what you have surrendered, peace can return. And from that peace comes clarity. From that clarity comes alignment. And from that alignment, life unfolds with a grace that effort alone could never achieve. Remember, imagination is your meeting place with the divine. Your inner world is the beginning of all things, and the truth you hold there is the truth life will echo back to you. Rest in that. Trust in that. Live from that. The divine is already working in the unseen for you. Now simply agree with it within and let the outer world rise to meet the truth you have chosen to believe.